See, this is, oh, sorry. These are a couple of gang stalkers, without a doubt. No, I just asked the right questions so that I could determine that it made no sense what they just did. I was outside. They drove by and damn near stopped, going around the corner, and then I was talking to my dad. Then they come back around, and then they damn near stopped again, and then they head back towards town. Then they come back this way again, and they pulled down in here when I got both my dogs in my hands, both of them. And then of course the neighbor's dog comes out at the same time, and they said they're lost. They were lost. They were looking for the Queen of Peace. Now, if you go to Patton, it's a real small town, okay? The Queen of Peace is the biggest church in town, okay? It's the tallest steeple in town. When you come into Patton, you can't miss it. It's the big, tall church steeple. So I don't know how you can get lost. You just head towards that big, tall church steeple, okay? So I asked them. I said, well, did you put the address into your maps thing, yeah? And they said, yeah, we don't get it. The service won't work, they said. So there's two people who have cell phones, a nice new car, and they can't get a single maps or directions app to work because they have the address, okay? They have the address. This is the other side of town, okay? I said, how'd you get all the way over here? I don't know. Because I'm pretty sure this is the opposite direction of that big, tall church steeple. Because you can't even see it from here. We're that far away on the other side of town. So I just told them, I said, well, when you go back towards the big, tall church steeple, you just go towards the big, tall church steeple, and then you'll find it. I don't know how else to tell you. I mean, you have the address. I can give you the address, or, I said, what's going on? Something going on up there today? Because I asked where they were from. They were from Duncansville, which is not far away. It's right down in half hour away from here. And she said they'd never been up here before. I said, what's going on? She said, oh, no, nothing. We just have to go up and get her car. Her car's in the parking lot. I said, oh, well, so then you've been there before. If your car's in the parking lot, you've been there before. You should know how to get there then, right? And they didn't know how to answer that. They didn't know what to fucking say. I mean, they have the stupidest things they come up with that nobody in their right mind would actually believe. I mean, the explanations that they tried to give me made absolutely no sense at all. Now, what does make perfect sense is if they needed to come up with some excuse to what they were doing, but what they were really doing was gang stalking. Okay, I happened to notice that the woman had a lanyard on her keys that said that she was the wife of a retired military vet, and they're part of a church group, okay? A couple women just driving around on a Monday afternoon, just happen to be the only time when I come outside. They drive by my house 3 times, and I'm on the other side of town from this church. The easiest place to find in Patton, even if you're not from here or you've never been to the church. A total stranger could come to this town and without talking to anybody and without even getting lost can find the Queen of Peace Church, without a doubt. 10 out of 10 times. But these are people who she's been there before. Her fucking car's supposedly in the parking lot. I mean, you can't make this shit up. And I'm not being paranoid or delusional or think everybody's gang stalking me, but please make it make sense. I mean, that to me was without a doubt absolutely evidence and a couple gang stalkers. like without a doubt. I don't care. I mean, please, I'm open to suggestions, and I would love to hear a better explanation of what the hell that just was all about. Because I just, pretty much gave you all the details from my perspective and everything here. That's funny. Health ride. You got three utility worker trucks, REA. Now they don't even handle this area, REA. We have Penelec here, not REA. So it's funny. You get 3 of them in a health ride, and I had a BMW with somebody on the cell phone up to their ear driving by. I mean, it's it's a fucking Monday afternoon at like 2 o'clock. So you just get these a bunch of just waves of traffic if I'm standing out here, okay? And now this has happened where every time I come out, there's a bunch of traffic drives by. So I was curious, like, is it just me? Is it just every time I go outside, all this traffic goes by? Or is this all the time? There's just a lot of traffic on this road. So I go back and I look at my surveillance videos, and I compare it to the traffic that goes by whenever I'm inside my house, compared to the traffic that goes by whenever I would go outside. And without a doubt, you can clearly show a pattern of every time I go outside, there's a bunch of traffic that drives by. I'm not saying that they're all stalking me, but that's data. That is a clearly, easily provable pattern that nobody else can explain. Why is it then that every time I go outside, there's a significant increase in traffic that drives by my house? Anybody care to venture an explanation to why that happens? And I've tested it over and over and over again because I would love to explain it away somehow. Believe me, I would absolutely love to explain it away somehow. But I've tried. Believe me, I have tried, and I have, even after I have damn near proved without a shadow of a doubt that it is clearly a pattern linked to my activity. If I go outside, a bunch of people drive by. When I don't, it doesn't happen. Of course, there are times when there's extra traffic when I'm not going outside, and then I look into that, and it can be explained as a result of events that are going on at Rock Run, or certain peak hours and rush, when people are coming home from work or people are going to work. Believe me, I take all of those variables into account, and I account for all that stuff. But whenever there is no explanation of why there's an increase in traffic, and you cannot find anything to explain why the traffic is increased, and you can do that over and over and over again and show that it's just whenever I go outside, and it doesn't happen whenever I can't find any situations where there's an increase in traffic when I'm not outside, okay, that I can't easily explain, okay? I cannot find a situation where there's an increase in traffic, okay, when I'm not outside, that I can't find an explanation for. That doesn't happen. But there's a bunch of situations where I go outside, a bunch of traffic drives by, and I can't find an explanation of why there's an increase in traffic. So I've done the experiments, I've done the science, I have the data, okay? I'm not trying to convince anybody. I don't have anything to prove. I know that they do it. I know it goes on. It's not hard to fucking show clearly. And I do it without saying, that I know what's going on, because nobody knows what's going on. But when you can sit down and use critical thinking and rational, analytical thinking, and you can clearly show patterns of behavior, and there's no other explanation, okay? When you eliminate all other possibilities, then the remaining, what you're left with by default has to be, you know, the explanation. When you're left with one plausible, you know, explanation, and you've eliminated all other possibilities, by default what you're left with is then the truth. That is then the answer. And that is how the scientific theory works, you know, until you can come up with another theory, you know, that becomes the answer, you know, by process of elimination. You know, when you find other data that you can punch into it and run the experiments again, then you do it. But when you do that over and over again, and you come up with the same results over and over and over and over and over again, you know, nobody cares to fucking listen to all this fucking detailed explanation of it all. And when people do show it, what do you know? That particular explanation and that particular evidence just kind of disappears, and it doesn't get shared, and the algorithms won't pick it up. You know, they like Nerve Gorilla. I have caught him actively absolutely avoiding and not even touching those types of claims and those types of evidence, like the Brian Coffin video. I watched him go to that. Look, there's Pat and Burrow. There's another Pat and Burrow. They keep driving by. But anyway, I watched Nerve Gorilla dismiss a Brian Coffin video on his that he had downloaded on his own server. He accidentally opened it and closed it right away, and he said, "Oh no, that's just stupid," right? And he wouldn't show that. Now he's trying to convince everybody that it's not happening, and he's pretending to look at all the evidence, but he won't show you that, right? Because he can't easily explain that away. So he doesn't want you to see that. Okay? And that's what he does. He will not show you all of the abundance of evidence that is out there that can't be denied, that you can't explain away, you know, because there's a lot of it. He just focuses on the stuff that you can, you know, that you can poke a hole in, the theories that are very unstable and don't help anything, you know. When people make claims and there's nothing to back it up and everything, they don't do the TI community any favors by doing that. So if you're a TI and you know what's going on, you know, try to avoid coming out and making a bunch of these claims if you don't have at least some explanation or some kind of evidence to back up what you're saying, okay? Because you're not doing anybody any favors by doing that, okay? I understand that you know it's happening and you want to spread awareness and get it out there, but you're only giving the opposition ammo they can use against us, you know, ammo they can use to convince the general public of their narrative, okay? So you're really shooting the TI community in the foot when you do that. So with that being said, I just couldn't resist recording that after talking to them, and they gave me they made it so easy for me to just like like, here, you know, we're fucking retarded, and we're that stupid that we can't even think up a better explanation. Like, didn't they think that maybe I might ask those questions, you know, when they come up with their excuse? They just stop right there. They don't think, well, what if he asks us this, or what if he asks us that? No, they don't care. Because I get it. Most people are not going to think that far into it, and most people are not going to ask the right questions. Most people are dumb. Let's just call it what it is, right? Hey, look, there's some firemen. All right, dogs, quit it. You ready to go inside? You guys ready to go inside? Let me get myself a a dog sled this winter. These guys can pull me around everywhere. So up, and here comes Fred in the backhoe. When I'm standing outside, they take these burrow vehicles and they just drive back and forth and shit. I've caught them around the corner here, just sitting there, and whenever I walk around the corner, then they all scatter, and there's no, you can't figure out what they were doing. They were running machinery and stuff, but you watch the Fred in the backhoe just drop the bucket and scrape the road. I don't know why. And other burrow workers just sitting around the corner in the dump truck, just wasting taxpayer dollars, just sitting there. So, yeah, there's a lot of our town money being wasted, just blatantly wasted for these idiots to do nothing. I mean, I'm saying that they're getting paid to sit around and fucking gang stalk me. But either way, even if they're not gang stalking me, they're wasting taxpayer dollars, fucking driving back and forth, wasting a pile of gas, and yet doing nothing. I'd love to see some results of what the fuck they're doing. Because if I stand outside, I can watch them fuckers drive past here over and over again all day long. So with that being said, remember, drink your milk, don't do drugs, stay in school, and be good or be good at it. Peace out.